Righto, today we're going to be looking at the process of setting up and lighting an Oxy Acetylene torch. Before we get started, we'll just go through some of the safety equipment that we'll be needing before we start the job. So you have gloves, your Oxy Acetylene welding goggles, flint lighter, pretty essential. We don't use matches or any cigarette lighters or anything like that, as it's highly dangerous. And then we normally have a good quality either welding jacket or a pair of overalls or a long sleeve shirt. Righto, so after we visually inspect all the hoses, make sure we've got everything clear, we're going to start to set up our regulators and turn our bottles on so we get the correct working pressure for the job that we're doing at hand. Because we're only welding today with a welding tip, manufacturer recommends about 50 kPa pressure for both the acetylene and the oxygen. So we'll set both regulators up to those. So we start with the acetylene. We've got our cylinder pressure gauge, which shows us how much is actually in the bottle, and then we've got our working pressure gauge, which we use to set, using this front of our regulator, to the correct pressure for what temperature that we're going to, what pressure we're going to be used to weld. And the same for the oxygen. So we'll start off by setting up the acetylene. Now, we normally with acetylene, when we go to crack the cylinders, we'll face away from them and keep to the side in case there's too much pressure build up in there and we break the regulator gauges. Right, so I'll just open this up. Acetylene is about half a turn, or full turn actually. Once we've done that, we'll open the fuel or the acetylene tap. We open that about a quarter of a turn, and then we just start winding the regulator in until we get up to 50 kPa on the regulator, and then we just turn that off. Next we're going to do the oxygen. So same again, don't face it, open it up, crack the cylinder. Now with oxygen you need to have the bottle turned on all the way, so take it all the way out and then just release it back just a little bit. Now we'll just wind this in until we get 50, turning on the oxygen valve. Just wind it in until we get about 50 kPa, and that is about set there. So we just turn that off now. Now we're going to get to the stage where we light the torch. So first of all, having it held in our hand, once again flint lighter, only thing you need to use in the workshop to light the torch with. We turn the acetylene on to about a quarter of a turn and then create a spark. Now when we go to light this, we can see the black smoke off the end of this tip here. We need to virtually make that disappear, and then we get about the correct amount of acetylene coming out. We then need to adjust the oxygen. So if we crack that valve slowly, and the flame we're going to have today, because we're only welding mild steel, is what's called a neutral flame. So if you can see there, we've got basically two blue cones coming out of the centre of that thing. That's more of a carburising flame at the moment, so we've got more fuel gas going through than oxygen. When we get that back to just a small cone in the centre, that's what's called a neutral flame, and that is pretty much an equal amount of acetylene and oxygen flowing through the torch. To get an oxidising flame, it still has a single cone in the centre because you can hear the oxygen more fiercely. So I'll just go back to the neutral flame, and that's basically it. To shut down, we need to do the reverse of the starting procedure. So acetylene off first, so that helps blow the oxygen helps blow the acetylene out of the line. And then we need to shut everything down. So we'll turn acetylene off at the bottle. Same with the oxygen. And now we're going to release the pressure off the regulators and then let the gas out of the line. We'll do the same with the oxygen. And that's it. So at the end of shutting down, make sure all your leads are wound back up again and your work area is left clean and tidy for the next person to use.